Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Talking Real Estate, your Champions Real Estate team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Service Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wehner, team leader at Champions Real Estate team. Joining me today is my son, Camden. So he was kind of fussing. So I'm like, well, he can jump on. He likes being on the video with Russ and I. So Russ with Williams Mortgage is also joining us today. So he'll kind of talk about the mortgage side of it. So let's jump in, kind of go over our quick tips. So some of you have been, frequent viewers here. We talk about our home buyer's guide, home seller's guide. So we'll talk about our home buyer guide basically on our Champions Real Estate team website here. The biggest thing I want to show you in that, let me pull it up, is when you jump on here to our Champions Real Estate team, go to buying, come down here, click home buyer's guide. Basically, this pulls up. The big thing I talk about in here is our home buyer evaluation checklist. So it's a 2-page document. I literally teach I think I'm teaching it on Friday, 3-hour class, basically on 2 pages of, for our CE hours. So we got a lot of real estate agents taking CE. We got to renew by November, so we'll procrastinate. We're out there teaching them. So, anyways, but the home buyer checklist, so it goes over basically everything that's gone on here. My dad created this. Anything that's been a real estate commission complaint or some kind of lawsuit, we basically kind of put this on the checklist for our buyers so that they understand everything in here. So I can go into 3 hours of detail on this, but when you get one of these, I can go over more detail. I just want to keep our video short here, but just has everything basically you need to kind of consider and then some. Because a lot of buyers that I work with, they don't know what they don't know, and that's great. We're here to coach, we're here to educate you, train you, so that you know what to look for when you're buying a house. And so as we see here, you get a property condition disclosure statement. What's the age of the structure, square footage, smoke detectors, water softener, purification systems. I know when we built our house, we're on a well system. So basically we had a sulfur guard, we had the reverse osmosis, all that stuff. And that was about an $8,000 to $9,000 whole thing with all the water softeners and the drinking water stuff. So that's a pretty big expense that people don't think about. Does that come with the house? Is that leaving with the house? So those are all things you just need to think about that some buyers just don't know to think about that stuff. So that's why we put it on here. So quick tip, check out our home buyer evaluation checklist. So like I said, jump on championsrealestateteam.com, click on the buying side, basically pulls up in the home buyer, basically our free buyer guide. You don't got to register or anything to get it. So, obviously our site, we have a whole great inventory, basically pulls right off the MLS, updated information through all that stuff. So yeah, so when you get that information, just get your sign your name, I think phone number, email address. And we're not one of those teams that's just going to hound you every 5 minutes until you tell us no. We're here to help you. We're here to provide these resources to you. We want to be your real estate resource and provide you as much information as we can throughout that process. So anyways, that's kind of our quick tip today. So yeah, check out our home buyer evaluation checklist. Yeah, Camden. Yeah, there's Russ. So, all right, what do we got here? Let's jump into the real estate market. So what's gone on in the last 7 days? So it pulls up here. So we had 533 new listings go live, 335 homes go under contract in the last 7 days, and 364 happy homeowners. Hopefully they're happy. Brand new homeowners in there. So kind of typical what we see this time of year. We got we're not the one in, one out like we were in the spring market. We're still getting some more of those houses out there. The thing I'm seeing in our marketplace looking with buyers is value. Pricing that home right from a seller's perspective to attract those buyers, and those buyers will tell you where that price should be. Went out and showed some houses this last weekend, and you can see what's a good buy, what's not, what are they, what's the lipstick on the pig, what do they just kind of, brush up and try to, pass off as, oh, this is updated, and they actually like take care of the cabinets, and they do, a good, quality job on it. And like I said, not just slap the lipstick on the pig and hope it looks good. So that's what those buyers are looking for, value. And if you're not doing those updates, then pricing that home accordingly. I think some of the sellers still have that mindset that, they're going to get multiple offers and this kind of stuff. Well, if they're pricing it too high and they're not giving a value to that buyer potentially, at a fair price, those buyers might not even offer on the house. So make that, and then if it is, price it accordingly. You'll get buyers that'll run that price up, because they'll feel that there's a value that they can come in and add value to that house, whether that's carpet, paint, updating, all that kind of fun stuff, that they can choose some of those things, but it's just pricing that home accordingly. So that's kind of the market on that side. So let's take a look at a 30,000 foot view that we look at every week here. Oh, sorry, Russ, go bye-bye. Oh, there he is. He's up there in the corner. So 30,000 foot view. When I do these numbers every week, they don't change very much. So we got 3656 on the Omaha and Lincoln inventory. So what does that mean to you? When I got my license in 2008, so in 2010 timeframe, we had about 5,500 homes just in Omaha MLS. That did not include Lincoln. So still low on the inventory totem pole. But we are seeing, our numbers at 1,100. So that's the most existing listings we've had in a while in the last couple of years. So like I said, there's a good inventory out there to take care of for buyers out there, especially this time of year. I'm working with some buyers. Well, let's wait till the spring or let's do this. Well, let's get now where there's less competition. We're getting a little chillier outside. I don't know if I want to go look at houses now. It's cold outside. So be those buyers, get out there. And for those sellers, pricing the house accordingly, you're going to get those buyers that are ready, willing, and able, and they're not messing around looking at the houses as the weather gets a little chillier. New construction, same there. Months of inventory, 3.1. So that basically means if we had no more houses come on the market, we'd have 3 months of inventory. So we'd be out of houses, come February. Average sold price, 348. That number hasn't changed too much, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of what I got for the housing side from the inventory. I guess what's Russ has got here for us from the mortgage side. You're on mute, Russ. So just make sure and unmute yourself.
It's good to see you, Camden. Looking good.
Hi.
Mortgage rates are continuing to trade sideways, and we expect they're probably going to be here for a while. There's a few things that we're watching pretty closely, not the least of which is what's going on in Ukraine. With the approval of the ability to shoot long-range missiles from Ukraine into Russia, Vladimir Putin turned around and said, well, we're going to change our nuclear agreement that if we are attacked on Russian soil, that we can use nukes. Bond market doesn't, the stock market doesn't like that. And so we saw bond markets perform a little bit better. At the same time, even just this morning, we saw the European equivalent of our retail inflation numbers come in a little bit higher than expected. And so we're seeing some pressure the other way. Until we see a reversal somewhere that would suggest that we're seeing the jobs market really fall off, or inflation is just really going down quickly, even more than it already has, it's not likely we're going to see a lot of movement one way or the other. Having said that, though, Mark, we're seeing, especially with those inventory numbers looking better, we're seeing a lot more situations where the buyer can get some help from the seller, either to buy down the permanent interest rate, either temporarily or permanently. And what that does is it makes homes more affordable. As you pointed out, if we get into spring and these inventory levels stay like this, there's a lot of pent-up demand that's going to come onto the marketplace in the form of more buyer competition, which is not only going to put pressure upwards on quite likely on home prices, which we're seeing still, but also making it more difficult to get some help from the seller to make sure that that home is affordable. So if you're thinking at all in the next year of buying a house, get off the fence now. You have an opportunity. I highly encourage you to take advantage of it. Certainly if rates come down, you're buying the house, you're marrying the house, you're just dating the rate. It's not a permanent thing. We could fix that later on. That would be my advice going into the holidays, Mark.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that's what we kind of talk about pretty much almost every week, that, it's not timing. People want to time the market. You don't necessarily want to time the market. What is it? I'm just drawing the blank. Timing the market is not important. Time in the market is what's important. I saw a stat, I think it was I don't know if I talked about it last week, if I saw it this week. But I think on average that since 2020, that there's been an average of about a $32,000 equity increase per year. So that's, over the last 5 years, almost 5 years now, that's almost 150, 130 grand that you're leaving on the table, from buying a house, where you get somebody, rent a house, it's going to be great. Well, you're paying someone else's mortgage. Someone else is capitalizing on that equity, getting in there. So, but anyways, yes, he's getting down. So yeah, that's kind of all. I agree with you on that side of it. So that's kind of all we got here for today. Yeah, if you have any questions, give us a holler. The number's down here, 672-7670. Give Russ a holler, 290-8936. We're happy to help you, educate you. We just want to be your resource, whether you want to buy a house this month, next month, a year from now, 2 years from now. Let's get a game plan together. I do a lot of buyer coaching sessions, consultations, whatever you want to call it. Some of my buyers are a couple years out, or a year out, especially some of the guys that I coach hockey with that, they're turning 30 years old or whatever. And they're like, hey, we need to buy a house. The average home buyer right now is 38 years old. And the average income across the nation that they need to get into that first house is $107,000. So how can we make it more affordable? How can we get you in there? And how can we get you to capitalize on some of that equity growth? Ultimately we don't have a crystal ball. Things can happen. The market can go up, go down. but over the longevity history has showed us that, real estate is a pretty good investment in that side. And then even getting into the real estate investment side, buying rental properties and stuff like that is even, a whole different ball game that I don't think a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know, and they don't want to get into something that they don't know. But the only way you're going to do that is reach out to us here at Champions Real Estate Team and just get educated. And does it make sense? Is it an option? Maybe, maybe not. And that's for you to decide after you've gathered all that information and kind of going from that prospect of it. So, but yeah, we can go down a whole nother educational side on that, but that's a whole nother video we can do. But anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. If you have topics you want us to cover, give us a holler. You can text me, you can comment on any of our social media. I know this goes out to a lot of the social medias that we're on. But yeah, happy to help, happy to educate, and have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you next week for Turkey Week, Turkey Day.